You cleared the space. Now it's time to fill it. You set the boundaries. Now it's time to expand into them. You ask yourself what growth means. Now it's time to actually grow. This is Action Wednesday. And today we are not just talking. We are doing. Well, hey, my beautiful people, and welcome back to the Season of Self-Love Podcast. It's your girl, the goddess, NmW&x, and I am so glad that you are here with me on this Action Wednesday. Yes, Action Wednesday. And y'all, if you listen to Monday's episode, you know that we are doing something different this month. We're not just learning, that we are applying, and we're not just listening, that we are taking action. So, Monday I told you about the question that I was asked. Have you seen any growth from me? I told you about the shame that I tried to creep in. I told you about choosing to speak my truth with compassion. And I told you about my green bathroom and how I almost shrunk and how I almost said, I think I'm doing too much. But I also told you how my husband reminded me to be unapologetically me. Well, today we're going to do the work. Today we're going to identify where you have space now that you didn't have before. And we're going to name what you want to grow into that space. And we're going to take one bold, visible action to claim it. So let me welcome you properly to the show. Welcome to the Season of Self-Love Podcast, the season of healing intentionally. I am your host, NmW&x, and I am so glad that you are here. This season, we are slowing down to go deeper. Every Monday and Wednesday, we're creating a space of intentional healing, authentic conversations, and the kind of self-love that transforms from the inside out. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself intentionally is a foundation of true transformation. So whether you're on your own journey of rebirth, navigating life transitions, or simply choosing yourself, this is your safe space. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's heal together intentionally, because you deserve to embrace that beautiful person that you are. Now let's get started. All right, my beautiful people, again, welcome to the Season of Self-Love. Well, before we dive into the work, we're going to ground ourselves with a 60-second guided meditation. You see that tongue-tied right there. But today's meditation is different. Today, we're not just setting an intention, that we're preparing to take action. We are preparing to take action. So what I want you to do right now, I want you to grab your journals if you have it. And I want you to get your pen ready, because after this meditation, we're going to work. So wherever you are right now, I want you to close your eyes if you can, and I want you to get comfortable, all right? All right, my beautiful souls, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I want you to just pause with me for a moment. I want you to put both feet on the floor, and I want you to feel the ground beneath you. You are supported, and you are ready. Now take a deep breath in through your nose, and I want you to slowly release out your mouth. Now place both of your hands onto your thighs with your palms up, open, receiving, and ready. And now I want you to say quietly to yourself, and I want you to repeat after me. I am ready to claim my space. Now inhale, exhale, now say quietly to yourself, I release the fear of being too much. I release the guilt of taking up room. I release the shame of expanding. I welcome boldness. I welcome visibility. I welcome action. Now one more breath in. Release. Now say, today I act. Today I claim. Today I grow. I am unashamed. And when you are ready, gently open your eyes and grab your journal today and let's do the work. All right, my beautiful people, you ready to do the work? Are you ready to do the work? All right, so let me quickly recap on Monday's episode for those who listened and catch up on for those who didn't. On Monday, I shared with you a story of being asked, have you seen any growth? And how that question made me realize that we all have different definitions of growth. Some people measure their growth by an external markers, their career, their house, their accomplishment, the things that everyone can see. But for others like myself and many of you, growth looks different. Growth means healing, setting boundaries, means self-awareness. Growth means choosing yourself. And also I shared on how shame tried to creep in. Shame tried to keep me from speaking my own truth. Shame told me to shrink, to make it easy, to just say what they wanted to hear. But I chose differently. I chose to speak my truth with compassion. And then I told you about my green bathroom, about how I was redesigning this space in my home, and I started to second guess myself. I think I'm doing too much is what I said. And my husband said to me, no, you be you. He said, baby, you've done so much work to be comfortable in your skin because I watch you. He said, you made a commitment when we walked into this home, and you said that when people walk into our home, that when they walk in one way, but when they leave another way. You said that when they walk into your home is that you want them to be an experience, that it to be transformative to them. And that's when I knew that I needed to be unashamed about my growth, that I needed to stop apologizing for my growth and my healing. And that's what unashamed growth looks like. It looks like claiming your space. It looks like filling in with your truth, with your reflection, with your expression, unapologetically. So Monday, I gave you 5 reflection questions. And today we're going to use those questions to do the actual work. So I know you asked, Nyomi, so how are we going to do the work? So here's how we're going to do the work. I'm going to walk you through 3 exercises, and I want you to actually do them. I want you to actually do them, not just listen to them and not just think about them, but to actually do them. So if you're driving right now, or you're working, or you're cooking, and you're just listening to me while we're doing this right now, you can just come back to this and you can do these exercises later. But when you do actually do them, write them down. I want you to speak them out loud, and I want you to take action. Because here's what I know. You can listen to 1,000 podcasts about growth. You can read 1,000 books about boundaries. But if you don't actually do the work, nothing changes. So today we're going to do the work. So before I give you exercise number 1, I want to share something with you and with you all on several examples of doing action, putting action behind the work that you do, or the things that you say that you're going to do, or better yet, reading. I want to say 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I did a 10-day book thing, and I said that I was going to continue to do it. This is one of the things I said I was going to do, and I hadn't done yet. But I did my very first 10-day book challenge, and it was Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life by Bob Proctor. And we kind of, and we had an amazing time doing that book. And I remember doing that book, but it also, within doing the book in the challenge, you also had to challenge yourself to do an additional, I believe it was either 60 or 90 days that you can, read the book every day. Read the book every day, and actually share with somebody and do that with them and make each other accountable for that book, for reading that book and doing the things in that book. And I remember choosing myself and my sister were accountable partners, and I remember myself and one of my aunties was accountable partners. And so I kind of did it several times, and I actually created a framework using part of those principles that Bob Proctor had taught us to create a framework for that. But then I thought about the 4 agreements. And I remember sharing the 4 agreements with, first with my Ask Nyomi platform, and talking about the 4 agreements there. But then I remember, anyone that I ever ran across with, whether it was friends, family members, or whoever, I can be at a tea party, at a wedding, or whatever, I used to speak to them about the 4 agreements and what it truly meant. But that book right there is what I truly do actively use on a daily basis. And what I mean by that is that you have to be very intentional on how you want your life to be. You have to be truly intentional on how you want your life to be. I remember saying to myself, you can't keep complaining about what you don't have if you don't do the work to get. You can't say, I want to look like this and I want to lose this weight, but you're not putting that donut down. Or you're not eating the right vitamin or taking the right vitamins. Or you're not doing that walk. Or you're not lifting those weights. Or you're not eating enough protein. Or I can't say I want a successful business, but I'm not taking an extra course to learn what to do with that. Or I'm not putting myself out there on social media, or I'm not learning. So we cannot say we want something and not put the action behind the words that we speak. We cannot write in our journal and say, I have this already, or I'm claiming this, but not do the work to claim it. There has to be actions behind it. Or we cannot sit at an altar or go to church and sit in an altar and pray and say, God, please bless me with it, but not open to do the work to receive it, or put ourselves in spaces and places to be able to receive that. Does that make sense? And I just wanted to I wanted to set the tone before we go into these exercises. We can't just be highlighting and writing down things and not doing the work. Again, we cannot just be highlighting and writing things down and not doing the work, especially if we say this is really what we want in our life. Do we really want this in our life? Do we really want change? Do we really want growth? Do we really want that successful business? Do we really want that successful relationship? Do we really want to heal from that heartache? Do we really want to heal from that trauma? Then we have to do the work. We have to do the work. All right, so let's go to exercise number 1. Exercise number 1 is the first exercise. I'm going to call it, this is mapping your space. This is where we identify where you actually have space. Now that you actually have space that you didn't have before. Because remember, the boundaries that you set in March, or whenever you set them, you created a room, you created space. And now you need to name that space. So what I want you to do right now, I want you to grab your journals and I want you to write down these 4 categories. And I'm going to give them to you to write each one of them, all right? All right, so the first category, remember I said 4 categories. The first category is time. It's time. Time is the first category. Category 1 is time. All right, where did you create that? Where did you create time that you didn't have before? Where did you create time that you didn't have before? Maybe you stopped scrolling on social media for, an hour every night, or maybe you stopped overcommitting to events that you didn't want to attend, or, maybe you just delegated tasks that weren't where you don't carry anymore. I want you to write it down right now. Where did you create time? And I'm going to pause for a moment. I'm going to play some little music, while you write that down. We're going to take a little slow today. All right? Again, category 1 is, where did you create time? All right, category number 2 is energy. Where did you create emotional or mental energy? Maybe you stopped engaging in draining conversations. Maybe you stopped carrying other people's problems. Maybe you stopped overthinking or people pleasing. Write it down. Where did you create energy? I'm going to play some music and allow you to go ahead and write that. Where did you create energy? All right, category 3, physical space. Where did you create actual physical space? Maybe you cleaned out your closet. I did. Maybe you set up a workspace. Maybe you claimed the corner of your home as a sanctuary. Maybe like me, redesigning your bathroom, or even, your garage, and built you out a home gym. Write it down. Where did you create physical space? I'm going to give you some time. Okay, right now I want you to pause for a moment. I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold for a moment. Exhale through your mouth. Take another deep breath in through your nose. Hold for a moment. Release through your mouth. Take another deep breath in through your nose. Hold for a moment. Release through your mouth. All right, we go to category 4. Category 4 is emotional mental bandwidth. Okay, this one is more subtle. Where did you create emotional or mental bandwidth? Maybe you stopped worrying about things that you can't control. Maybe you stopped second guessing yourself. Or maybe you stopped trusting yourself more. I want you to write it down. Where did you create bandwidth. Now I want you to look at your list. I want you to look at all of the space that you created. Time, energy, physical space, in your bandwidth. This is real. This is yours. This is the room that you make growth from. You made for growth, okay? Now you're wondering why I paused and I did those 3 inhales and exhales, because I know sometimes when you are going deep, sometimes it can become very overwhelming and anxiety can set in. Because you could put pressure on yourself, and this is not what it's supposed to be. And so I wanted to take a moment to just pause and take a moment. And that's what that was. And so even if you leave from here and you sit down yourself and you do it again, I want you to take those moments to take those 3 breaths in, those 3 inhales and exhales out like that. Inhale, hold for a moment, and then exhale. So you can gather your emotions, and then you can continue. Because when we start to look at our own reflection in the mirror while we heal, and sometimes it's not as pretty as we want it to be. But know that you are still an amazing person through this transformation. Know that. Know that even having the courage to want to be a better version of what you already are speaks volumes. Speaks volumes. Now, to continue on with this exercise 2 of this is naming what you want to grow. Now that you mapped out your space, we're going to name what you want to grow in that space. Because here's the thing. Nature abhors a vacuum. If you create space and don't intentionally fill it, something else will fill it for you. And it might not be what you want. So we're going to be intentional. And we're going to name what we want to grow. We got to be careful that we're not hoarding other things that are not supposed to be there. Remember, we just cleaned things out that were no longer aligned, right? So we want to make sure that we're not putting things in there that are not supposed to be in there. All right? We naming what we want to grow. We're putting a stamp on it. We claiming it, right? So I want you to look at each category and I want you to ask yourself, what do I want to fill this space with? So let me give you some examples from my own life. So time. I created time by setting boundaries around my work hours. What do I want to fill time with? Rest, creativity, time with my daughters, time at my altar, time to just be me. Because if anybody know me, I can work 24/7, but I know I need time to rest. I need time to heal my body. I know I need time for just creativity. I know I need time with my daughters. My baby girl is still here in the home, so I know I need time with her to nurture her, to feed into her. And I need time at my altar. I need time with my baby boo. That's just time for just to be. And then energy. I created energy by stopping people-pleasing conversations. That I'm no longer on the end of just listening to people dumping. What do I want to fill that energy with? with my own healing, with my own projects, with my own joy. With physical space, I created physical space by redesigning my bathroom. By taking all of the stuff that I had in my garage that I was sharing with and building out a whole gym. And what do I want to fill that space with when I created the bathroom? Beauty, peace, a reflection of my truth, a sanctuary. With my gym, health. Health is wealth. Balance. And bandwidth. I created bandwidth by trusting myself more. What I want to fill that bandwidth with? New ideas, new possibilities, new growth. You got it? Now it's your turn. I want you to go back to your 4 categories, and for each one, I want you to write, I want to fill this space with. And then you fill in the space. So right now, we'll pause for a moment. I want you to fill in this. I want to fill this space with. And I want you to be specific. I want you to be honest. And I want you to be bold. This is your space. You get to decide what grows here. All right, now here's exercise number 3. All right, so now that you mapped out your space and you name what you want to grow, now comes the most important part. And that's taking that one bold action. Because growth doesn't happen by thinking about it. Growth doesn't happen by writing about it. Growth happens by what? By doing it. Do it. So I want you to choose one bold, one visible action you're going to take this week to claim your space. And when I say bold, I mean something that stretches you, something that makes you a little uncomfortable, something that requires you to be unashamed. And when I say visible, I mean something that can be seen by you, by others, by the world, something that you can't hide, something that takes up space. So let me give you some examples. If you created time, sign up for that class that you've been talking about. Book that massage. Block out 2 hours this Saturday just for you and put it on your calendar where everyone can see it. Or if you created energy, start that creative project. Write that first page of that book. Post that thing that you've been afraid to share, or speak up in that meeting. And if you created physical space, finish redesigning that room. Put up that art. Buy that green paint, or make your space a reflection of you. And if you created bandwidth, I want you to apply for that opportunity. Have that conversation. Ask for what you need. Make that decision that you've been avoiding. Now I want you to look at your list. And I want you to look at what you want to grow. And I want you to choose one action, just one. But I want you to make it bold. I want you to make it visible. And I want you to make it this week. Write this down. Write this down. This week I will, right now. I want you to do it right now. I want you to make the decision, your bold decision right now. This week I will, what you gonna do? I'm waiting. Y'all hear the music playing? This is the time for you to write. Did you write it? All right. Now I want you to do one more thing, okay? One more thing. I want you to make it specific, okay? I want you to say, not like I'll start working on my creative project, but on Thursday, I want you to do this, but on Thursday at 7 p.m., I would sit down and write the first paragraph on my book. Well, maybe not on Thursday at 7 p.m., because that's when I'm going to ask Nyomi around that time, maybe. So you'll be watching me. But you know what I mean. On Thursday and give a time that you can truly sit down and write that first paragraph or whatever. Does that make sense? Not I'll create a sanctuary space, but on Saturday morning, I will go to the paint store and buy green paint for my bathroom. Be specific, time, committed, write it down. Make an appointment with yourself to do that. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I know I was being a little funny, but does that make sense? Commit to that. Commit to yourself. Make that bold commitment to yourself. Make that one thing, do that one action. Because I'm going to tell you something. Here's where it gets real. Because as soon as you commit to that bold action, resistance is going to show up. Shame is going to whisper, and it's going to say, that's too much. Girl, you're doing too much. Boy, who do you think you are? Fear is going to whisper. What if people judge you? What if you fail? What if you look stupid? Guilt is going to whisper, you should be doing something more practical. You should be focused on something else. You being selfish. And when those voices show up, notice I say when, not if. I want you to remember Monday's lesson. I want you to remember what I said on Monday. Growth has no single definition. So you don't have to measure your growth by someone else's ruler. And you don't have to apologize for growing in ways that don't fit the script. But trust and believe those voices are going to show up. So when they do, I'm going to tell her, go sit over there in the corner. Because that's what I tell mine. That's what I tell my voice. Go sit in the corner over there. No, we're not entertaining that today. And I'm just blessed that I do have someone that be like, no. When it gets really loud for me, no. This thing called life is a daily thing. This thing called healing, this wonderful thing called healing, it's a daily thing. It's every moment of the day. Every moment of the day. Every moment of the day. And I want y'all to remember that bathroom story. And I'm going to tell you, when I started second guessing myself again, my husband said, you be you. He's witnessed me doing the work and being comfortable in my skin. So when that shame, that fear, that guilt shows up, I want you to say to this out loud, I am claiming my space. I am growing unapologetically. This is not too much. This is exactly right. I am unashamed. And I want you to say it right now with me out loud if you can. I am claiming my space. I am growing unapologetically. This is not too much. This is exactly right. I am unashamed. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. All right. Now here's where the accountability piece comes. All right, y'all. Because We commit to something out loud. When we share it with someone, it becomes real and it becomes harder to back out. So I want you to do one of the two things. Option one. I want you to share your option with me on Instagram. Either DM me or tag me at the Season of Self-Love podcast and tell me, this week I am claiming my space by ... I want to see it, I want to celebrate it, and I want to hold you accountable. Or option two, tell someone in your life, not someone who's going to talk you out of it, not someone who is going to judge you, but someone who supports you, who gets it, who would cheer you on. Text them right now and say, this week I'm claiming my space by, and let them know what you're doing. Do it now before you talk yourself out of it, before resistance show up. Do it now. So right now, what I want to do is I want to give you some real examples of what claiming your space might look like. And these are from people in my community who have done this work before. So let's talk about my girl, Jessica. Jessica, she created time by setting a boundary with evening work emails. And that was her bold action. So she started a pottery class on Wednesday night, something that she wanted to do for years. But she kept saying she was too busy for now. So now every Wednesday, she's created with her hands. She's filling her space with joy. So let's talk about Mike. Mike created energy by stopping draining friendships. His bold action. He joined a men's support group, something he's been too ashamed to do because he thought real men don't need support. Now he has a community and he's filling his space with connections. So Jasmine created a physical space by cleaning out her garage. And that her bold action is that she turned hers into a home gym. Not a fancy one, but just with some mats, some weights, and a speaker. But it's hers, and she's filling her space with health and strength. And then Dave, he created a bandwidth by trusting himself more in his relationship. And his bold action is that he's told his partner what he actually needed instead of just going along to keep the peace. To keep the peace. So his scary conversation was, but it was honest, that he's filling his space with authenticity. And for me, I told you about my bathroom. And my bold action was that I bought the green paint and I'm committed to the vision. And I've stopped second guessing myself and I'm filling my space with beauty, with peace, and with truth. And I can't wait to see what you do. What about you? What's your bold action going to be? So actually the end of this week, probably Sunday, hopefully I'm done by Sunday, I will post a picture on all of my platforms of the finished work of my little bathroom, my guest bathroom. Yes, I will, of the finished touch. So I'm excited to, when it's all done. But yes, please do that. Now, some of you might be thinking, Nyomi, I hear you. I want to do this, but I'm scared. And I want to say to you, good. Good. That means it matters. If you wasn't scared, then it wouldn't be growth, right? If you wasn't nervous, then it wouldn't be bold, right? If it felt completely comfortable, you'd be already doing it, right? Right? The fear is a sign that you're stepping outside of your comfort zone. The fear is a sign that you are expanding. The fear is a sign that you are claiming space that you didn't have before. So don't wait for the fear to go away. It won't. Do it scared. Do it nervous. Do it unsure. Because here's what I know. On the other side of that bold action is the person you're becoming. On the other side of that fear is your growth. On the other side of that discomfort is your unashamed life. So feel the fear, acknowledge it. Thank it for showing you what matters and do it anyway. So here's what's going to happen next Monday. On our next Mindset Monday, we're moving to week 2 of Unashamed Voice, where we're going to talk about speaking without softening, about using your voice boldly. But I also want to check in with you. I want to know, did you take your bold action? Did you claim your space and what happened? So between now and Monday, I want you to do 3 things. 3 things. I want you to, 1, take your bold action. Do the thing that you committed to this week and don't put it off. Don't wait for the right time. Do it. 2, I want you to notice what happens. How does it feel? What resistance show up? What support shows up? What shifts? And I want you to pay attention to it. And 3, share it. Share with me on Instagram with your accountability partner or with yourself in your journal, but celebrate it, document it, honor it. Because this is your growth. This is your unashamed life. And this is you claiming your space. You claiming your space. All right, my beautiful people. So before we close, I want to leave you with the affirmation for this week. So please repeat after me out loud if you can. I am claiming my space without apology. I fill it with what serves my growth. I take bold actions even when I'm scared. I am unashamed of expanding. I am unashamed of being visible. I am unashamed of growing on my own terms. I am reclaimed. I am unashamed. And I am taking action. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, my beautiful people, this is it. This is the work. This is Action Wednesday. You've mapped out your space. You've named what you want to grow. You've chosen your bold action. Now it's time to actually do it. Don't just listen to this episode and move on. No, don't just think about it. Do it. Take the action, my beautiful people. Claim the space. Grow unapologetically. And remember, growth doesn't have to look impressive to other people. It just has to be real to you. And it just has to be yours. So whether your bold action is buying green paint and signing up for a class and having a hard conversation or starting that creative project, it matters. It counts. And it's real growth. I am so proud of you for just being here. I'm so proud of you for just doing the work. I am so proud of you for choosing yourself. Now you go claim your space. Now, if this episode has helped you, I want you to share with someone who needs to take action. Leave a review and please, please, please send me a message on Instagram and tell me what bold action that you're taking this week because I want to celebrate with you. So until next Mindset Monday, this is your girl, the goddess Nyomi reminding you to be good to one another and yourselves and always keep it sexy. Love yourself first and you can love others well. Have a good one. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today on this journey of intentional healing. I hope that this conversation has filled your cup and reminded you of the beautiful and worthy person that you are. I want you to remember, healing isn't about rushing. It's about showing up for yourself with love and intention, one day at a time. So I'll see you back here Monday and Wednesday for another episode of the Season of Healing Intentionally, right here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. So until then, keep choosing you. And visit us at the seasonofselflovepodcast.com for show notes and resources. And remember to connect with me on Instagram at The Real Nyomi Banks. This has been brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, because your healing matters. You are loved, you are worthy, and you are exactly where you need to be. Take care.